Were you astonished when you first heard that an ultra-conservative kingdom like Saudi Arabia is building a futuristic smart city named Neom? This is a monarchy that didn't allow its women to drive cars till 18 years into the 21st century. I bet you didn't think much of it because you have always heard that the Gulf countries are sitting on mountains of petroleum dollars, and the Sheikhs splurge on everything luxury and state-of-the-art. But what if I tell you that the idea of this mind-blowing sci-fi city could be an attempt to veil the economic downfall of this super-rich nation? Well, let's dive deep into the problems of the oil-rich kingdom, and by the end of this video, you'll start believing me. Due to its oil wealth, Saudi Arabia has long given its residents free healthcare, regular wage hikes, and subsidies for gas. However, the country is currently experiencing a severe budgetary crisis. Because of its dire circumstances, the desert monarchy is currently selling a portion of Saudi Aramco, its precious gem. That can only mean one thing for the typical Saudi Arabian citizen: further belt tightening. Let's examine 5 main dangers to the monarchy. Number 1. The Arab nation can no longer cash on oil. Oil accounts for close to 70% of the kingdom's total exports. However, according to Capital Economics, Saudi Arabia is only responsible for 12% of world oil exports at the present time. This figure is significantly lower than the nearly 30% it contributed to global oil exports in the 1970s. The monarchy began a price war in March in an apparent effort to hurt competitor producers, even as COVID-19 caused a decline in demand worldwide. It overloaded the market, but as a result, its crude export earnings fell by 65% from April 2019. According to Boris Ivanov, founder and managing director of consultancy GPB Global Resources, Saudi Arabia has been particularly heavily struck by the steep decrease in oil prices, worsened by demand loss from the pandemic. The fact that the global outlook isn't promising only makes matters worse. According to the International Energy Agency, the surge in renewable energy will cause demand to peak by 2030. Number 2. Debt has Saudi Arabia in a tailspin. Saudi Arabia, the world's largest oil exporter, had historically not needed to resort to borrowing money as long as public expenditures and royal generosity were kept within reasonable limits. However, the decline in oil prices in 2015 compelled the kingdom to seek help. To top it, its Vision 2030 initiatives, which we are going to talk about later in this video, require trillions of dollars in funding. Having depleted its foreign reserves and launched a $32 billion stimulus package in response to lower oil prices and COVID-19, the kingdom had to borrow $26.6 billion. The government increased the debt cap from 30% to 50% in 2022, which could lead to future increases in the kingdom's debt. Because of this, Saudi Arabia will have to earn revenue and spend money more than a normal national economy would, which means it would likely increase taxes. If debt continues to rise and foreign reserves are drained, the rial's peg to the dollar could be threatened, which would be disastrous for the monarchy. Number 3. Young Saudis today, college-educated but jobless. The population of the kingdom has doubled since 1990 after decades of rapid growth, but there are very few opportunities available for Saudis who were born in the last 30 years. Nearly 2/3 of the population is under 30. The majority of them are recent college graduates without jobs. By the end of 2020, it is predicted that 1.2 million foreign workers would have left the kingdom as a result of the Saudization process. This will create chances for locals, but only if firms can withstand the economic effects and are willing to offer higher wages. According to Rory Fife, managing director of MENA Advisors, Saudis are significantly more expensive than expats. So if enterprises are reducing expats due to cost considerations, they won't be replaced by Saudis. Number 4. Tourism won't come to the kingdom's rescue. Vision 2030, spearheaded by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, is Saudi Arabia's attempt to diversify its economy. The country had aimed to attract 100 million tourists annually by the end of the decade. In the wake of COVID-19, Riyadh had an estimated 35 to 45% decline in tourism, equivalent to a drop in revenues of $28 billion in 2020. Those numbers bounced back in 2022 with a huge turnout in the annual Hajj pilgrimage that was highly restricted during the pandemic. But the 2-year revenue loss will take some time to make up for. Number 5. Citizens of Saudi Arabia, lower wages, higher taxes. While low or non-existent taxes used to be cornerstones of daily life in Saudi Arabia, The recent drop in oil prices has forced the government to look for alternative revenue sources. Riyadh announced a cost of living stipend for around 1 million public employees, estimated at 1,000 riyals per month, in order to lessen the economic impact of the initial introduction of VAT and the reduction of gasoline subsidies. However, the provision was ultimately withdrawn as part of austerity measures, saving the monarchy some $4.8 billion annually. Falling automobile sales, which have plunged off a cliff, are one sign of Saudi Arabia's declining quality of life. According to a 2017 UN special report on the country, poorer citizens are most affected by rising prices, with 2.4 million of them requiring financial aid. So what does Saudi do to restore its reputation and safeguard its uncertain future? It has opted to construct Neom, a unique linear smart city. It's a major undertaking in the 2030 vision, which outlines the kingdom's goals for economic diversification. It's going to be a desert location unlike anywhere else on Earth. 9 million people will reside in connected civilizations governed by artificial intelligence that is intended to coexist with nature on the line, which will be constructed in Neom. This is a significant step in Saudi Arabia's transition away from oil-based economy, because the smart city will be totally powered by clean energy. There would be no automobiles, no streets, and no carbon emissions throughout the country's 170 kilometers of the northwestern shore. Some cities and towns, ports, business districts, research facilities, sports and entertainment venues, and tourist attractions will all be part of the $500 billion plan, with all necessary everyday services, including schools, hospitals, fitness centers, and green spaces within a 5-minute walk. Walkability will come to define city life. However, 2030 is a long way off, and the Desert Kingdom will face formidable obstacles before realizing its lofty dreams. The $20 billion Kingdom Tower, also known as the Jeddah Tower, is a symbol of the kingdom's financial difficulties. It's a venture of Kingdom Holdings, a company owned by Saudi tycoon Prince Alalaweed bin Talal. The Burj Khalifa in Dubai, which is currently the tallest building in the world, would be surpassed by the 1,000-meter tall structure. But in 2018, the construction, which had started in 2013, came to an abrupt end. The reason? Well, I would leave that for you to guess. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.